what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreon, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon, so a massive shout out of appreciation to Abraham Mohammed, Adam, Adrian Quintana, Alistair Main, Blue Ridge Ranger, Burn Fat Till My Stomach Is As Flat As the Earth, Chow Young Cat, Chris Hillman, Dank, Dave Rakia Gafford, David Robinson, David Wayne Foster, Daz Studio 68, Edwin Johnson, Erwin Jennisons, Felix Hung, Fireball X, Godrockin, Henrik 86, Joshua Balsimo, Kirsten Smith, Liam Nedrick, Life is Short, Maria Neelands, Matt, Missouri Bear, NA Literalist, Nagara, Nathan Thompson, Naibai, Rob H, Skeptic936, Steve ALM, Texas Mike, TheFlatEarthChannel.com, The Real Gabster, Tina Baker, Unbelievable Productions, and Windrider. So a massive shout out and thanks to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now we are joined by a few people in Discord and G+, so I'll raise the mic on them while I set up for today's live show. Hello.
Hello, I see you got a little premiere up. I haven't watched it yet.
Premiere?
Not premiere, but hang on, it came on my, what was it labeled? Little snippet. It was like 30 minutes long or something.
Oh, I did a 6-minute video, is that what you mean?
No, it said, well, hang on. Where did it show up? I saw it first thing in the morning.
Okay.
Hang on, I'll find it again. I'm scrolling. Of course, now I talk about it, I can't find it.
I think the only thing I've put out is that little 6-minute clip that was the 5 stages of loss.
No, it's not that one. That was a good one. Well, hang on. The title that I thought. Oh, where did it go? Good morning, Neil.
Did you figure out what it was?
No, I'm still looking.
Good morning.
It was just.
Morning.
Yeah, don't worry about it. When I find it, I'll come back in. I'm still scrolling. What's going on here? Well, it's Friday. Crazy things happen on Friday.
Yeah, that's right, they do, don't they?
You mean on the show?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, these are towards the end of the week, and it just seems to, in the past, show goes on forever sometimes. Lots of different things happen on this day.
It seems like yesterday went on for a while. I was elsewhere, but I seen Nathan in the Discord for longer than usual.
Yeah, I'm trying to think it was that one guy that came on towards the end.
Ed Freeze, right?
Yeah.
Or the
That's
Black
right.
Swan, or the Black Swan is mine now, is what his name is. Or there's two guys, right?
Someone's got that as a tag now. The Black Swan is mine.
Yeah, that Ed guy. There was another dude that's, he said he was in education studying for a PhD. That's why I hung around.
Ah. So I was right. ED stands for educational dysfunction.
Just the arrogance of him was amazing. You know, you get proven completely incorrect, and then you have to spend 10 minutes labouring the point over and over again with him saying, this is word salad, this is boring. You're like, what? You being wrong? You asserting that time can be an independent variable when you're studying for biology.
Yeah, they never concede anything. I had to drag it out of that Ed guy the other day. I think it was him, and prove. Oh, I know what it was. It was natural law, and so I said to him something about natural law. What can violate natural law? He says other laws. I said, like what? Give me one law that's going to. I mean, it's a natural law because it's not being violated by any other laws. You think that? That's why it's a law. And he's saying there's other laws that come into play that can violate that natural law. And I wanted to have him say it more clearly, but he pretty much admitted to it. And of course, like you said, after 10 minutes and after dragging it out, which is laborious, and he said, gravity. Just about had a bowel movement.
Yeah, they want to attack inviolable natural law with a 100-year out-of-date pseudoscience just because it's been called a law by a pretender clown.
Precisely.
Yeah, I just watched it, and that's yesterday, and it's really fresh in my memory. Tethman, that was a great summary. That was exactly what occurred. Along with him agreeing, just for the sake of argument, of course, that you'd have to be right, regardless of any conversing. And then Nathan wouldn't let it go any further. Well, that's it. You've had it. You've just admitted plenty. You know, there's no way your shit can be real. Thank you.
Yeah, let's not forget about that one, huh? Where he says, okay, I give you the container. Okay, goodbye. Debate over.
Even more outrageous, it's, let's say for the sake of argument that natural law's correct.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you get to smashing them with the exact same natural law, they go, well, this is your claim. You claim that the second law of thermodynamics holds true always and is an inviolable natural law, therefore applicable. I don't think it is applicable. What? No, it's not a claim, it's a natural law.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that was
beautiful
another-
too. It's people think as if they don't claim it, then that means that they are in opposition to their own religion. So they have to claim it. You've got them.
That was the other part where Nathan's citing what the second law of thermodynamics is, natural law. And the guy says, that's your claim. And they think, no, I'm saying it, but it's not my claim. It's a law. I can't do anything about it. It's inviolable. It's not going to be stopped by you or me. No, that's your claim.
It's like walking into a shop, picking up a candy bar, walking out of the shop without paying for it. The shopkeeper grabs you by the shoulder and says, oi, you got to pay for that. He goes, what do you mean? I haven't got to pay for anything. That's just your opinion. And he goes, no, that's theft. That's law. You're breaking the law. Nah, that's just your opinion. Prove it. Obviously, that's fairly ham-handed because I'm juxtaposing natural law with the law of the land, which is very different. But as an analogy, it's the same. The law is applicable always. Now, the difference between natural law and the law of the land is that I can violate the law of the land. There might be, maybe, consequences to that. Not definitely, but I can definitely violate it. In other words, I can walk into a store, walk out with the candy bar without paying for it, and potentially get away with it. In other words, I can break
Precisely
that.
what I was going to say, and I thought you were done, but you just paused. So, yeah, it's perfectly stated.
But the natural law,
it's a law.
the point is that you can't violate the natural law.
Overcoming it.
The natural law is inviolable, unlike the law of the land, which if you do violate it, you might be consequences for you, but it doesn't mean you can't violate it, which isn't true with natural law.
Yeah, I read this part out because I looked it up while we were talking. Natural law, without any dependence on human understanding, pre-existent, inviolable, law of nature, universally applicable.
Yeah, universally applicable as opposed to a claim I'm making.
See, they don't have any backstops for their beliefs or their claims. If you're going to be honest with yourself, you're going to have objective backstops like natural law that stops you going any further, because if you do, you violate the natural law itself. So you say, wait a minute, I'm in error if I cross this natural law and make a statement going against it, because now it's that against me and my claim. These people, they don't care. Their claim is their law.
Yeah, I also really enjoyed it when you took him to the woodshed. I mean, the propane tank, 10th man. With that
Oh, the
80%
80%.
capacity bit.
Yeah, the 80% fill up.
Yeah, that was great. And then he
I remember the
tried to
first.
stumble
I
around and
remember.
figure out where he wanted to go from there.
Well, I remember the first time I bought property, and I said, "Well, fill it up." He says, "Well, I can only go 80%." And of course, I'd never had my own tank or understood any of this. I said, "Well, if I ask you to fill up, why won't you fill it up?" He says, "Because," and they started explaining what would happen. I said, "Oh, I get it." I mean, Nathan's example of the bottle garden, which we've all seen, hopefully we've all seen, creates its own ecosystem inside of a bottle, and it changes at nighttime and early morning and as the sun rises and heats up the bottle. I mean, it's right there in the small scale, and they can't even capture the analogy or the side by side comparison.
Mic check.
Hey, Neil.
Mike, check.
I got
How
I
you
got a
doing?
message for Nathan
Oh, yeah.
from QE. He said if the Nidhug must present his rebuttal to the Black Swan on the show tomorrow, or he's banned. Tell Nathan if I'm late.
The NIDHub.
NIDHUGG. Nidhug.
NIDHug needs to present his rebuttal to the Black Swan or is booted from Discord.
Forever. That's what he
Okay,
said.
well, I mean, that's been aired, but I'm not in charge of Discord, so if he comes, if he doesn't come, that's not how I play, right? You know, feel free to come
I'm
if he
just
wants
the
to.
messenger.
If he doesn't and he gets banned from Discord, that's not on me, just because it's been aired here via you from QE.
I'm just the messenger.
I'm not moaning at you.
It doesn't matter. We're going to shoot you, Neil.
I'm not going to shoot you. That's fine.
That trajectory
Neil.
better have a lot of curve coming from the UK to here.
I am here. I'm not in the UK. How you doing, brother?
Building patio furniture. What does that tell you? I'm losing my mind.
Oh. What kind of furniture are you building?
The screws are not lining up with the hole. I mean, the nuts are, it's not lining up, that's all.
You just described Zanuck.
I'm in a battle.
With furniture.
Yeah, that's Zanuck in a nutshell.
Screws are not lining up with the hole?
Yep. So I got to force them. Anyway. An hour for
told
one
you
chair.
it's Friday, man. Anything goes on Friday.
Hey Neil, does it by chance tell you the directions usually we don't read the directions, but a lot of times you'll have to put that shit together loose and then tighten it. You know, it'll kind of go together a
Yeah,
little
that's
bit.
how we're doing it, but they're still not lining up.
Okay.
Everything's got to hold it. It's a rocking type thing, so I don't know.
Yeah, roger that.
Chair an
Factory.
hour, not too bad. Chair an hour, and then a table. Then I find out I used the table screws for the chair. That's okay.
Neil, you remind me of the time where I bought a swing set for my kids when they were young, and I'm putting it together in the backyard, and every possible hole, screw, bolt, whatever, was used, and every hole had something in it. The rest was solid pipe, right? Look at
Just one
the
sec,
work
10th man.
area.
Let's just do a quick sound check with Flatsoid. Can you hear us? Hello? Hello? Flatsoid? Clearly not.
He's not on Google Hangouts.
No, he's in Skype.
Okay.
But he's obviously got mic issues.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Oh, there you go. Hello.
I was trying to unmute.
Good to have you.
Hey, Flatsoid.
Been a long time.
It has been a long time. You tend to be the quietest person, so I've got no objection to having you on Skype because it means I can level you up individually.
I've been busy these days.
Busy working, spraying? Busy what?
I'm doing a network marketing company business that I'm busy with, but I'm also at least started working for the last 2 weeks with the spray painting, so but only half day. This lockdown is messing everybody up.
You know a lot about paint, right? You ever spray painted polystyrene?
Yes, but then you have to use water base.
Is emulsion
Otherwise
water
it will
based?
get...
Is emulsion water based? Or has it got solvents in it?
It depends.
Depends.
You get different types. I mean, you even get water based that's got some solvents in as well.
Okay. So you just have to buy a solvent-free, maybe a spray can or something to do them.
Yeah, or what you can do is you can get a water-based primer, and then you can spray whatever you want on top of it.
Oh, I see. So you prime it with okay, and then you could do it in emulsion and match the walls. Yeah, I see.
Yeah, it can work.
Got to get these little panels they're called diffusers. They look like little blocks at various different heights. Sometimes you see them in wood, like as art, but like various different height woods. They're designed to scatter the sound, but I want them for my ceiling, so they'll be the last thing I'd do. But they're just white polystyrene cut into these shapes. So they're very light, so they can stick on the ceiling. But I don't really want them. I want them the same colour as the ceiling, so I'm hoping I can emulsion them the same colour as the ceiling.
Oh, you should be able to.
Prime them.
Yeah, just get a primer. Then.
Right,
Yeah.
so water-based primer, then emulsion. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, how you guys all been doing?
Product.
Say again?
How you all been doing?
I've been good. I've been ordering acoustic treatment for the room. I've just last night ordered a couple more pieces. So I've got one of the expensive pieces. I've actually got about 10 already, but of the big bits that cost a lot of money, I've got one, and I've just ordered 2 more. So hopefully they'll come sometime next week. One will go directly behind me, and the other one's going in the corner behind me, which won't be seen. I've ordered a bass trap and a diffuser for behind me. Should hopefully improve the sound of things. And the look.
Yeah, should.
That polystyrene, is that like a foam?
No, it's just polystyrene. You know what polystyrene is, right?
I guess I'm not familiar. No, I'm thinking of like a
Like you get in packaging material.
Styrofoam.
Not well.
Yeah, styrofoam. All the same.
It's like you get in packaging when you buy a piece of electronics or something. It'll have 2 pieces of polystyrene on each end of the box to hold it in place and stop it from.
Yeah.
That's polystyrene.
Oh, okay.
Like if you break it apart, it's
You're-
like little white balls all glued together, tiny little white balls.
Yeah. I got you. So why are you wanting to paint that? Or why are you having that on your ceiling? Is that what you said?
It's a diffuser. The material's polystyrene, but the actual thing itself is called a diffuser. So it's how can I describe it? If you imagine you got like 1 inch squared pieces of wood at various lengths, so 6 inches, 4 inches, 2 inches, and no inches would be a hole, a gap, if you will. If you imagine them all arranged it's in a mathematical sequence, but it's designed to, the sound hits it and then bounces off in an even, irregular way. So rather than just bouncing off the ceiling and hitting it like, I hate saying this on this show, like light, it'll hit it, if it hits a mirror, it'll just bounce off at the same, at the adjacent angle at 90 degrees. Well, the same applies to sound. So if something hits the ceiling, it's just going to bounce straight back off again. Which, the problem with that is it creates something called a comb filter, which is where you've got one sound wave hitting your ears, and then the second sound wave that's hit the ceiling then hit your ears a fraction of a second later, which confuses your ears. And a microphone's no different, it works in the same way. So it's getting one wave and then another slightly delayed wave slightly after, which sounds bad. So that's what I'm trying to solve. They're ugly. I mean, it's not going to look great on my ceiling, but I don't care. It's not for looks. It's more to reduce comb filtering and flutter echo. As fascinating as I'm sure that is.
No, I understand. And are you familiar with what's called coffered ceilings?
Copper?
No, coffer, like a coffin, but coffer, like you'd put money into it, right? Fill up the coffers. Yeah, they're called coffered ceilings, and it's essentially, if you could type it in on Google and you could see, it's basically where it's like the room shrinks at the top of the walls next to the ceiling, where it's kind of framed down. So if you were to, it's kind of like stair step, so to speak.
That makes sense. So if you've got irregular angles in the same way as if you've got a completely square room, everything's just going to bounce off in a regular fashion and completely muddy everything. Whereas if you've got irregular shaped rooms or a tapered, going to a tapered ceiling, not the walls, not the ceiling itself, then that'll change the shape of the room, make it more irregular, so that the sound will bounce off in an irregular way. So you don't get just the main source sound and then a whole bunch of reflected sounds fractions of a second later, but in equal doses from every single wall, because it's all regular. So that's the coffer ceiling. I'll have a look at that. Not that I'm going to start doing building work to my apartment, but interesting to look at. Not one I've heard of before.
No, the reason why I said is because if you get enough of that polystyrene and if you're able to glue it or however you're going to attach it, you could get that look out of it if you get enough of it.
The problem with that is that you don't want to. I used to work with a lot of studios, and you can go one way or the other. I'm going to start a live show late just because I want to talk about this. So you can go one way or the other. You can either over damp the room, put lots of foam in for the sake of argument, which is a mistake a lot of people make. And then the problem with that is you've soaked up so much of the reflections that you can't localize anything. In other words, your ears are to a certain degree dependent on being able to localize the sound based on its reflections within a room. So if you get rid of all that, it becomes very disorientating and uncomfortable to be in. The other end of the extreme is you diffuse it all. The same principle applies. You can't localize where it's coming from. It seems like it's coming from much further away than it is, the reflected sound, that is. And that also can be quite disorientating. So it's quite strategic in terms of where you stick the stuff. And I've seen people who've done their entire ceilings or their entire back walls. And unless you've got somebody who's working it out for you mathematically, which I haven't, I've got a vague idea what I need to do and I'm going to do it. But unless you've got somebody actually calculating it, you can make a right mess of things. Well, you can and you can't. You can not achieve it being better, let's put it that way. Right, I better start the show, hadn't I? Waffling on about acoustic treatment.
Outstanding.
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by Flatzoid, 10th Man, Righteous Force, Chocolate Saiyan, Paul Hall, and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Good
Good
morning.
afternoon.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning. Any signs of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon, formerly known as Earth curve?
Not from Parker, Arizona.
Only if you're psychotic.
For axial rotation of the Earth-based variety. Any signs of that?
No, none of that.
But difficult to find something that doesn't exist.
You do see Neil deGrasse Tyson on different YouTube snippets talking to people about it, though. He's one of them that I remember. He's sitting with a backdrop of a window and the cityscape, behind him. And he says, do you know right now we're spinning at such and such a speed and everything is still, but it's like, we're spinning.
I remember it also. Hey, Arwin.
Hello, good afternoon.
Any evidence of the distance to the
Arwin.
sun? Go on,
I was
Flatzoid.
just talking about that.
Just one sec. Hey,
No.
Flatzoid. Just 1 second, Arwin. Say again, Flatzoid.
I just said hello, Owen.
Heard you saying hello.
No,
You were just-
Flatzoid.
You were just talking about it on your show.
Yeah. I was basically trying to lay down what a staggering, bizarre realization it is that, in my model, you could say, my approach, none of the heavenly lights are physical in nature in any way. So they bend off, so they're like pure light apparitions, including the sun. And then realizing that it is the sunlight that is pretty much feeding almost all processes, life in a very visceral way, the life cycle, and even the gas cycle itself. And then, that's due to a non-localizable light. That's incredible and strong. Like, what world is this? So bizarre. Definitely not a giant ball of gas very, very far away.
How'd you know that?
Because it can't be. Because
I'm not trying to be a globehead, and I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying, how do you know that it isn't that? Because I have
the second law of thermodynamics.
That's if it's in a vacuum, right?
Right. But
Gravity
it
doesn't
would have
exist.
to be.
I'm not saying it isn't either. I'm just saying, how do we rule it out? Other than their narrative, we can easily dispel, because precisely it's a second law of thermodynamics violation, a burning gas in a vacuum. No, it's not. However, what, in terms of its actual constituent parts, is it burning? Is it a gas at all? We don't know any of that, so we can't necessarily rule any of that out. We literally have no idea what it is or the mechanisms that it's utilising to produce that light and what seems like heat from that point. We have no idea.
It's just, yeah, it's just there.
Well, yeah. Well, now we're talking about the supposed origin source of the light. And what I was trying to highlight is that we don't even get to see the source, if there even physically is one, even though every sense we have and knowledge about nature says that there should be somehow.
I agree. In the same way the horizon moves as you get closer to it, the sun moves. It doesn't. It is by its nature apparent in its location. So that is a fairly reasonable logical deduction, I would say. You know, it seems to be a point that isn't a point that's an actual source of that light. It's weird. You describe it much better than I do, but that seems logical, given that you can't get to it, right?
Right. And there doesn't seem to be any signs that it is even in a specific location to begin with. Approachability, all that.
Were you around when we did Tracking the Sun live?
Yeah.
Just that for me cemented the idea that it's, you know, it doesn't matter where you go or what you do, you could be in every location all over the world and you're never going to get any closer to it. It's, you know, it seems obvious, but without actually looking at it and studying it and thinking about what are we actually observing here, is anybody getting closer? It's moving throughout the day, but in terms of if you moved with relation to it, it would just move with relation to you. Doesn't matter where you are on the surface of the plane. Or so it seems.
Yeah, it seems, well, at least the bar horizon, nearing the horizon, it seems like the sun apparition, the only thing that ever changes about it is the angle to the observer. That's it. Right.
And even its path, you know, the vector it takes from my location is a weird trajectory to be taking. You know, it sort of goes, well, not a vector is like that. Anyway, moving on. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Are they still trying to defend it?
What's gravity, you say?
I think Flatsoid just claimed it was a container.
Einsteinian gravity all works like Newtonian gravity. So when we explain Einsteinian gravity on Earth, we're just going to explain it like Newtonian gravity, even though it's completely different.
Yeah, even though they're in totally different geometries.
You just don't understand.
Yeah, we had Rumpus yesterday lying about that. Said that one can dilute into the other. It's like they're in completely different geometries. You haven't got space-time in Euclidean 3 space. They're not translatable. One superseded the other. Snap the wand in two, as George Musa puts it. That's not one translating into the other. That's one snapping the wand of the other. The one that's acting at a distance, as if by magic. That would be Newton. That wand was snapped in two by Einstein. George Musa. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
No, because it's not science.
Yeah. They have a lot of wiggling room with what they do, as far as they do anything. But actual scientific results, yeah, they never really get to that point. But they'll get patted on the back if they make up a really good story, though.
Ah, you do love a good story about space, eh? Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without a container?
Has someone managed to demonstrate one yet?
No. That would be a violation of natural law.
Well, in the movies, when they depict space and say the capsule or whatever the spacecraft you're watching on the screen is exploded or there's a breach, all the gas pressure inside that spacecraft escapes and fills the available volume of space. In the movies,
Yeah, space is fake. You can't have gas pressure, which we are breathing, without a container for it to press upon. Any evidence of a self?
hang on. So my point is, we're saying to them, the second law of thermodynamics, entropy, the gas would fill the space. They argue that point with us, and yet in their movies, typifying a region that can't exist, they actually prove our point. When there's a breach in the spacecraft, the gas fills the space because it's in space.
Yeah, but that's because the craft doesn't have enough gravity to keep the gas there.
Gravity's not a force. Gravity's not a force. Gravity's not a force.
Yeah, but they think of it as
That's
such.
nice. You can think of it as a roast chicken.
No, they think of gravity as a container.
They do think of it as a container. Nobody's asserting that it's not documented anywhere. It isn't. But you can think of it as a container. You can think of it as a force. You can think of it as a roast chicken. It isn't.
Well, maybe that's why the idea went foul, because it was a roast chicken.
They were saying it's a container without a top.
They're saying a container without a top. Well, Earth as a sphere isn't even a container without a lid. It's a marble in a sky vacuum with absolutely no semblance.
I know why they have it that way.
It wouldn't happen that way, did you say, Neil?
I said I know why they can, because they don't operate in the really level.
We move on. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
No.
The iron core that's past the Curry point that's supposed to keep its magnetic field?
Yeah, self-perpetuating molten iron core.
Well, maybe it's something else.
There is no self-perpetuation, but that farcical bit comes after the molten iron core bit, right?
Mm.
The egg experiment disproves a rotating sphere with a liquid center.
And the Coriolis effect disproves a rotating sphere Earth. Amazing what you can do. Any evidence, last but not least, of the R value, Earth radius?
They can't make up their mind what the radius should be.
Black Swan.
It's actually set in stone. While you say they can't make up their mind what the radius should be, the heliocentric standard model has got it metaphorically, because we don't live on a sphere in a sky vacuum, but metaphorically set in stone. It's a rock, Earth is a rock in a sky vacuum with a specific set in stone radius value.
So you would be able to use actual geometry?
Yeah, if we had a sphere edge for a horizon. If the edge of the sphere was represented by the demarcation point between land and sky that we call the horizon, also defined by them in their rhetoric as a geometric horizon, the horizon that is claimed to block boats and buildings in the distance, also known as Earth curve. If we had a geometric horizon, then yes, we could do geometry, assuming a sphere.
Yep.
Unfortunately,
but, they can't get the.
Oh god, I just want to fill in Flatsoid. Unfortunately, they don't have a physical geometric sphere edge for a horizon anymore. It was debunked by a piece of evidence called the Black Swan, or an argument, I should say, called the Black Swan. Although what the first original Ambest was labelled the Black Swan as a piece of evidence, but nevertheless, the argument, the Black Swan argument, has debunked a physical geometric sphere edge as a horizon, and they, as you phrase it, now tell us that we do not see the geometric horizon, even though it's marked with an X labelled horizon based on the R value in their geometric model that's no longer usable because they can't do geometry anymore. End of globe model. All hail Black Swan.
How many times does that simulator or that the graphic or whatever they have changed since this whole thing started? Can anybody know?
Not many times.
Well,
up until the point where they got stuck because, how do you simulate R-based refraction? Like, how do you actually simulate? That's not really, you can't do that because light doesn't work that way.
Well, by what they do is they show you it by demonstration on a flat surface, qualify it perfectly in terms of what's actually happening on a flat surface, but then tell you the Earth isn't flat and you must take geometric considerations when you're closing that suitcase of actual refractive effects and opening another suitcase that's got your geometric consideration 7/6R terrestrial refraction inside. So that's what they really mean.
Right. But the thing is that why terrestrial refraction and this idea that the apparent horizon is looming above the geometric horizon, why that couldn't even be simulated is because optics just don't work that way, even if you simulate it. The horizon is always where the horizon is, and things surrounding the horizon might be able to maybe deflect it, but the horizon itself will, be at the same height. It always is, because that's where it is. And now it may appear to be cut off closer by or further away, depending on the conditions in the air, but it's going to be the same height. Because the horizon is never really displaced as part of any miraging.
Yeah, they need it to be, though. They need to invent a second non-horizon, but called a horizon, only in existence in their geometric model marked with an X labelled horizon based on the physical geometric sphere edge parameters that R gives them, radius. Well, once they've got that second horizon, a horizon being a place that we'll see, a visible demarcation point between land and land, sky, or sea and sky. Well, that visible demarcation is what a horizon is. And if it's only in existence in a model and cannot be seen, it is not a horizon to derive a second one from, because a horizon is something you see. So you can't derive a second horizon from something you don't see and can never see, because you can't see it. You certainly can't draw tangent to it if you can't see it. So you can't do geometry with it.
Yeah. Just a reification fallacy, that's all.
Yeah, reifying the horizon into this position in their model that occasionally matches on a certain set of weather conditions. And beyond that, when it doesn't, just assert that it's not really in existence beyond your reification of the model into a non-physical, non-geometric, non-sphere edge horizon that will move with the weather.
So a horizon is technically falls under the optical phenomena, right?
Yeah, even in their paradigm,
they are
it's still...
claiming then effectively an optical phenomena that is not visible.
Yeah, an optical phenomena that's not visible. Yeah. Very well put, Arwin.
Right. There's an optical phenomena out there, but you can't see it. But it's there because we got this model that requires that to be like that.
And look, here it is in our model with this little X next to it at the tangent point that should be blocking stuff, and we will assert it's blocking stuff if the photos show that.
They got another one, Arwin, too. In this reified model, we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, but you can't feel it.
Right.
And as a result,
optical phenomena, though, but
What I'm saying is the argument that they have on all of their claims falls apart because defending a model is tough when you're using reality. So we're supposed to be spinning. So where's the motion? Oh, there's no motion, but we're spinning. Well, where's the geometric horizon? Well, it's there, but you can't see it. I mean, these people, wake up.
That sounds insane.
Don't know what this means, but I'm going to read it out anyway. Shout out to Al Jungi, who says, "In my garden, I do see terrace trail refraction." Any ideas? Is that a joke? Do I just not get it?
Well, see,
terrestrial,
terrestrial.
Oh, God, I'm so slow. Terrace Derail. Oh dear. That's great. I love it.
Right. He has a terrace, I guess. And he's seeing it refraction.
I think the latter statement was better.
The ladder. That was terrible.
Sorry.
So yeah, that's it. Terrestrial refraction based on geometry requires a geometric horizon, which is based on R, but apparently it's a visible effect we can't see. It's really the end of the globe model. Shout out to Godzilla. I'm going to have to bring this up on the other screen to be able to read it. 1 second. Shout out to Godzilla. It says, they say the empty can rattles the most. Case in point, Sean Hawkins. Is he rattling a lot?
That was good.
I'm not paying a great deal of attention to the chat, I'm afraid, Godzilla, but thank you very much for the super chat. Back to the 5 stages of loss. Got somebody in the denial stage by way of their screen name. Geometric horizon is real. It's just a shame we can't see it. But yeah, your denial is being expressed quite nicely in your screen name.
That's my favorite. The geometric horizon is real. Aww.
Yeah, we're gonna have to
Keep saying
start
it to yourselves. Maybe it'll become true.
It's real. It's just not a horizon.
Exactly, Chocolate. It's just denial, right? Say it enough and it'll come true. Just pure denial.
But chocolate, Father Christmas is so real.
He must be. We made it up ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah, instead of share your pain, we have to get a bit more specific about which one of the 5 stages of loss they're at. You know, obviously, if they come in as a flat earther, we can basically say, yeah, stage 5, acceptance. That's fine. You're easy to label. Whereas the guy 2 days ago, I think his name's Ed Freeze. He's got another denial type screen name. The Black Swan is mine. Well, he came in and sounded very despondent, very depressed when he first arrived. Did he not?
Well, it goes from
That's
denial.
another share your pain title right there. Black Swan is mine. I thought the Black Swan was nothing. I thought it was some garbage argument. Now you guys are naming yourselves after it.
Yeah, exactly. It's so unimportant that they've got a screen name named after it.
But it's a reference from Mortal Kombat. It's a play on words.
This argument's so unimportant, I'm going to name myself after it in this Discord server. This argument's so important, I'm going to have my disclosure that I think it's not a correct argument in my screen name in the YouTube chat. That's how unimportant this argument is.
I mean, that guy should have took it a step further and just said the curve is real.
Right.
Why not just name yourself that? That might help
many...
your cognitive dissonance a little bit better. Sorry.
No. I was interrupting you. I'm sorry. No, but I'm baffled about the names that some of the real trolls, like that don't constantly make sock accounts, make for themselves. Like, for example, Daft Harry came in my chat and then told me how incredibly dumb I was. And then I'm like, hey, did you know that you've been around for like 4 years having the name Daft Harry and then calling Flat Earthers stupid for years?
So got a gag from Al Jungi. Says, dentist. Ed experiences 5 stages of floss. Love it. But what I'm saying, Chocolate, is we need to get a bit more specific. So rather than just share your pain, you know, we can label particular traits or aspects of what they're doing, like naming their screen name something after the Black Swan. Very endearing. But that's stage 1, right? That's pure denial.
Yeah, that's exactly what geometric horizon is real as as your screen name. That's what that is right there. Like, wait a minute, no, it's not real. Of course it's real. These flat earthers. Matter of fact, I'm going to name myself geometric horizon is real.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Let's pick a few more examples, like pure denial. Sean Hawkins. No, the Black Swan argument is a straw man. Pure denial. based on your geometry. But pure denial nonetheless. Stage 1. Very sad, very disappointing.
So if your stage 1 is denial, the second one is anger. Why do they immediately go to anger?
Because they know they're wrong.
Normally,
They can't handle it.
that's as much your aggressive stage in this arena as it is anything else. So you get to the debate stage, i.e., bargaining, and then you get smashed, and then you get anger. They regress.
Yeah, that's got to be what it is. Every time these guys leave here and they've been destroyed, and their silly arguments go nowhere. Well, how do you feel about that afterwards?
Yeah, but
because again, let's remember the same guys that have been in the chat for years saying flat Earth is dead in 2016. They're still in there now. Shout out to you guys. 2020, you're still in here talking about flat Earth was dead and dying and all that. Yeah. Thanks for coming along on the ride of us dying while we're getting bigger and bigger.
You also get anger from it's often expressed in the
question.
comments like you should die, drink bleach, don't breed. That's normally because they've, instead of coming and watching 2 minutes and going, you're all idiots, we already know the Earth's a globe, they watch for 15 minutes, hear a point that's sparked something in their brain that they don't like, and they go, this is evil, I'm going to have this shut down, I've reported this. That's anger, but from the other direction rather than debate.
Exactly.
Yeah, but have you not realized how they can stick on one subject for like we finished with the subject 30 minutes ago and they're still busy on the first subject?
I think that is kind of denial as well. So you smack rather than just shouting in anger, like the guy yesterday, the guy who's studying for his PhD in biology. He gets to the point where he's been absolutely annihilated and just denial, flat out denial. This is boring. This is word salad. No, this is the death of your claim that you've made being laid out for an audience and for you. You just don't like it. So it's denial after bargaining. So, you bargain with the doctor. You must be able to resuscitate my husband. Surely he's not dead. No, I'm afraid not, madam. We can't resuscitate. But he's only been on the slab for 10 minutes. Surely you can get the paddles out. There's got to be something you can do. No. And then you regress immediately to denial. There's got to be something. You must be able to do something. So it's not, you're an idiot doctor, you haven't got a clue what you're doing, which would be regressing to anger. It's regressed right back to denial and then back into bargaining. So, obviously these stages aren't set in stone in terms of which way you're going to go. You don't have to go through anger. You can go straight to denial from bargaining, which is what we had yesterday. And that's when they reassert the same claim they made initially, because they've gone la 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 la. Another shout out to Al. Hold on one sec. Just another shout out to Al Junkie, who says, Egyptian pal is a glober. He is still in the Nile. Denial.
Well, he's a nihilist.
Denial.
Denial. Very good. Thank you for the super chat, Al Junkie.
Denial is the
man after my own heart.
Longest river in Egypt.
My point, Nathan, while bringing up the anger, is it's either going to stage of a debate, you're going to come to a draw, like you've said many times before, or it's a win or a loss for your point. So it seems like if you're after the truth and you're debating that very subject, whatever it is, and the evidence is there, why would you go to anger if you're seeking the truth? You only go to anger if you're defending the lie.
Yeah, but there's a very poor alternative if you go the other direction, because then it's on to depression. It's not straight on to acceptance. Oh, no. Depression first. So when you get somebody who's had their point smashed, they don't want to move forward, because then it's being depressed and down in the dumps about the fact that you weren't right. That's not the direction people want to go.
I think the ego gets the better of them. They cannot just be humble and accept they're wrong.
Oh, right. And there's no humility demonstrated here 99% of the time.
Yeah, but it's not just the ego. Their entire sense of what the world is like, and like that the truth is being taught by the authority. All of that is in the balance. So it gets much more closer at home for ballers most of the time than we may think or remember ourselves. Because it's not just the ball and the flat earth. No, it's usually the entire world coming with it.
Right.
And the way
there's a certain personality that there's a lot of in what is considered the conspiracy realm, which is to say that they have a certain distrust of authorities to begin with. They're looking for subtleties in terms of signs and symbols, maybe, whatever you want to choose to point at. But they're generally more distrusting on our side of the argument, whereas our opponents are saying, no, we absolutely must trust consensus. No, the authorities are correct. They author the information, therefore they're right. So when you find out, and again I've got to keep plugging this because it's the best example, is Conspiracy Cats when he details exactly this. Well, if it was true and we weren't living on a sphere, then that would imply that we've been lied to on a massive scale about hundreds of other things. Well, that's a very depressing thought, says Conspiracy Cats whilst being interviewed by Haunted House. So yeah, you understand the fundamental level where this is going if you understand it, and that's depression.
How many times have you heard a story, and maybe even your own, that you bought some kind of insurance policy to cover a certain event or loss for the item, and then the event happens and you go and make a claim, and the contract in small print that you never read but trusted the salesman says we don't cover that situation under this circumstance. So you're paying all this premium on a monthly basis for 5 years. You feel good about it because you're going to make a claim and you're going to get it restored, and then find out that it was never covered.
Yeah, that's not what the insurance bit is for the first bit. When you said you felt good about it for the first 5 years, safe in the assurance that if anything should happen, you'd be covered. That's what you were really paying for. Not actually getting any money if disaster struck. Hell no.
Exactly.
But yeah, so the road to depression is going to be a much steeper cliff to fall off when you get to stage 3 and you're in the bargaining stage. And as much as it's frustrating for us on this side of the argument when we won't get a concession, maybe after these last couple of conversations about the stages of loss, we'll be a bit more apathetic to the people who are here, because we realise how big the cliff that they've built for themselves is when they get to that edge and realise that they're wrong. It's got to be, no, I'm going to stay on the top of this cliff, thanks very much. Let's go back to my original argument, because I'm not going to jump off this cliff. It's very depressing. Look how high I am. I've climbed all the way up to defend this nonsense, to the point where I'm on a debate show with flat earthers, with them pointing out how incorrect I am with my assertions and how they don't stack up with natural law. Well, I still want to trust government. I still want to trust that they've got my best interests at heart, because I'm a normie, so I don't want to jump off this cliff. Whereas the guys on our side are like, we've already been wandering our way down the cliff to begin with, going, oh God, look how distrustworthy they are. Oh, look at all those lies. Oh, wow. So we're already close to the bottom of the cliff when we go, oh, what? And the entire nature of our reality is not as they've told us. Bloody hellfire. And that's at this, for me at least, that was the level of my depression. Like, bloody hellfire. It really is all lies. There's loads of it. But, it's kind of enlightening rather than depressing when, for our side, we get to that stage. But I don't think that's the case if you're like, no, everything the news says is true. How would they? Why would they? They wouldn't lie.
It's too much takes too much energy to think for yourself. It's much easier just to believe in whatever other says.
Yeah, it's another double-edged sword, because if they've come here, they're at the bargaining stage, right? They've already contemplated it. At a fundamental level, I've said this before as well, that most of them know it's flat. That's why they're here arguing about it. They don't want it to be, so they're bargaining. Back to the analogy in the hospital. I'm sorry, madam, he's already dead. I'm sorry, Globehead. The model doesn't work. It's untenable. It's already dead. No, you don't understand gravity. Yeah, you keep telling me to resuscitate your dead model. and then when they do contemplate it for a few moments and go, okay, well, I can see how that doesn't work. How do you explain it? That's like the woman in the hospital saying, well, find me a new husband, doctor. Well, I'm sorry, madam. I'm not responsible for finding you a new husband. I was trying to keep him alive, but now he's dead. I'm not going to replace him with a new husband. You must tell me how the sky works. No, I'm not responsible for telling you how the sky works, just because we've pointed out that the corpse that is the globe model's over there, and how it's a corpse and how it's not breathing. That doesn't mean I'm going to get you a new one. I'm sorry. That's not how it works.
Oh, hold on. There's a better way to compare it. No. When the doctor tells the old lady, sorry, we can't resuscitate him anymore, the old lady asks the doctor, okay, so if you could resuscitate it, how would you do it? That's basically what's going on.
Kind of a burden of proof. Hypothetically, if this was to be a successful resuscitation, what would be the process that you go through? Would you first use the defibrillator? What would you do first? Come on, just tell me the process. Now you've told me the process. Maybe you should be going in there and doing it, Doctor. Get on with it. Get him back on his feet. Shouldn't take you any minutes.
Didn't Ed Freeze do this just the other day when you provided the second law of thermodynamics, and then he goes to bargain? He goes, well, there's other laws.
Yeah, there are other husbands.
Many fish in the sea.
So, yeah, but on the flip side of that, just coincidentally was on screen as we were discussing it, the bonus of getting through the depression stage, as long as you make it through the other side, some people don't. You know, as terrible as it is and as much as we're laughing about it, depression's not something to be laughed about. On the flip side, once you've gone through that stage, that we've just discussed and had a good laugh about, there's acceptance. The nice, cuddly, warm blanket of acceptance. Then you can get on with your life. You can look out the window and go, no, what they've told me about the sky wasn't true. But I can still get on with my life. The actual view outside my window is exactly the same as it was a year ago. Fundamentally, nothing has changed other than my mental perception based on a lie I was told. Or, if you don't want to see it as a lie, as I don't, you just didn't look hard enough at what they were telling you. George Musa told you, but you still want to deny it even though he told you to your face. But that's okay. That's your bad. So when you finally get to the acceptance stage and perhaps you want some recompense, there's none to be had. They told you all along it was a model. More fool you for reifying it. We tried to tell you. That's not on them. It's on you. You're the foolish ones for accepting this model. This nonsense that is the heliocentric world with the sun at the centre of your existence. That's your bad for reifying this model. They told you it was a model. Heliocentric model. Well, if you knew what a model was, you wouldn't have reified it, would you fools?
It's easier to fool a man than to make him believe he's been fooled.
But it's not even like they've been trying to fool you. You know, the guys that are on TV saying, of course it's a sphere, they don't know. They're not the authorities. They might seem like the authorities. But people like Brian Cox, he's an actual authority on this. People like George Musa, he's an actual authority. He's changing the narrative. He's authoring the narrative. And it's being disclosed to you. But when it's disclosed to people who are opposing us in this argument and it confirms our actual rhetoric, i.e. our picking apart of your rhetoric to be more accurate, gravity's not a force, and they tell them, and they don't want to accept it. They don't want to hear it. They even stick their fingers in their ears when their own priests tell them like it is, and it's the same as we're telling them, but they don't want to hear that. Because they've already taken somebody who's not an authority, who's told them it is a force holding gas here, and they've gone, I like that idea, because it solves this, that, and the other problem with my reification of this model. So I want to hold true to that, even though the priest, the actual author of this nonsense, is telling you can think of it as a force. He's not making it subtle.
That's what I think is the best part, though. Like, they get the story. Obviously, none of them came up with this story by themselves, right? They got it from somewhere. But then they don't listen to the people that gave them the same story, and then they want to flip it and remix it, and then tell us another story. It's like, but you have to stick to the story that you were given, because that's your story. I don't understand when they try to remix it into something completely different. Makes no sense to me.
Or as QE puts it, you're parroting the wrong pseudoscience. Yeah, in this regard, just for the audience's benefit, we're talking about when we have a juxtaposition between Einsteinian pseudo-Ramonian 4 space and Newtonian 3 space as two different types of gravity, one that has superseded the other. And the person we're talking about, George Musa, described the transition from one to the other as Einsteinian gravity snapping the wand in two, referring to Newtonian magic acting at a distance. He snapped that magic wand in two, didn't Einstein, with his new authorship of New Bullshit.
The new hotness.
The new hotness is Einsteinian 4 space.
And the old and busted, the Newtonian crap. The Cavendish, John Michel gravity, yeah.
CV boys, don't forget CV boys.
CV boys. Throw them all in there. Why not?
So yeah, you've been given the narratives, you've been told where it's made up. Even people, let's pick a different one, Andrew Thomas Young. He tells you how refraction works, he shows you a nice shiny briefcase full of atmospheric effects, tells you that they're being measured on a flat plane, but because he's the authority and he's fairly ham-handed in his attempt at this bait and switch in text format, he just shuts the one suitcase full of atmosphere closed by saying, but the Earth's not flat. Now, my subjects, you must take geometric consideration. He opens a new briefcase. Terrestrial refraction. That's got geometric considerations built in already. So let's just slide these atmospheric refraction effects over here. And here you go with your geometric considerations. Because Earth's not flat. Geometric considerations. So they're telling you that it's not flat. Why? Well, because we assume R. That's why. Here's R in terrestrial refraction format.
Yeah, just ignore it was all done on a flat plane.
Butcher. Ma'am, it's not a horse, but you can think of it as a horse. Al Junkie, thanks for the super chat. There was a scandal here about 5 years ago where they were putting horse meat into lasagnas, like frozen lasagnas, saying it was beef.
Yeah, as well, donkey meat.
About refraction, when I was doing my research on refraction, trying to dig into it, when I read Thomas Young and all this stuff, they said, well, we just know, and I've heard this said many times, we just know how the atmosphere works. We just know how refraction works, but they never really showed you how they came to this knowledge. Has anybody seen that anywhere where they actually showed the process of determining the knowledge of how the atmosphere works?
Yeah, we just discussed it. They detail it on a flat plane, but then tell you, after detailing it, Earth's not flat and you must take geometric considerations when dealing with the reification of the sphere Earth. So they tell you that it's all done on flat surfaces, but Earth's not flat. That's how they show you actual. That's my reification of a suitcase with atmospheric effects in, not a reification, a analogy. So my analogy is actual atmospheric effects they'll detail. And they used to do it back in the day when we were arguing about the Isle of Man. They'll talk all smart about how actual atmospheric effects occur, and they'll be correct. They just don't tell you that the word refraction is then going to be hijacked with the word terrestrial in front of it, with geometric considerations based on an R value, giving you a geometric horizon that you don't see and doesn't exist because we do not see the geometric horizon. They just don't tell you any of that. It's just we're just going to take geometric considerations even though we know how atmospheric refraction works on a flat plane.
They also keep it real subtle, right? I mean, obviously, if you're going to put the R in some type of an equation, right? So you're going to change it. But they don't, it's almost like it's there, but it's not there. Like they show you that they're going to change it, but you're not realizing that you're literally changing the value of this R so that you can save the value of the R.
Exactly.
It's an illusion. It's illusion act. That's all.
Yeah, it's a little magic trick, precisely. I'm just going to do another couple of quick shout-outs, one I missed. So shout out to Cleary. He says, Arthur C. Clarke sold humanity the globe parascome. How do you say that? Parascome. PARACOSM. I don't know what that word is. I'm really sorry. Also, shout out to Godzilla, who pointed out that I hadn't shouted out Cleary's super chat. So thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate it, Godzilla and Cleary.
Well, when we read Andrew Thomas Young saying that all the refraction calculations were done on plane surfaces, the reverse of that is I never did it on the sphere.
No, that's because it only exists in the model he's producing or authoring.
Right, but that's the whole point of citing his statement there before he says, now but we know the Earth isn't flat. After he says everything he did was on flat plane surface, meaning all of his calculations about refraction, then he wants to reify his study about refraction on the globe, but you got to take geometric consideration. So now you got to change that suitcase, like you said.
Yeah, we got a Glober on the panel.
Hello, Glober. If anybody wants to know where we're getting this analogy from, it's from a movie called Straw Men, where they literally do this for real with a suitcase full of money rather than atmospheric conditions. So check it out if you want to see that bait and switch in a more physical way rather than a mental way. Who's the Glober?
Hi, Try Boy. The white car picture. Share your pain. Hi, Try Boy.
So what stage are you at?
What's up?
How you doing?
Hey, how are you? Hey, Nathan, how are you?
Very well. Nice to have you.
Just working on something in the background. Sorry.
That's okay. We've been discussing the 5 stages of loss, and we're just wondering which one you're at. Are you at the denial stage? Are you at the anger stage? Are you at the bargaining stage, the depression stage, or have you accepted it and you're here to tell us how shocked you are?
At acceptance at this point, because Arwin, he knows my buddy Tom Parker. He's my boss at a computer repair I worked at, and he's been helping me, like, he's been inching my way to a flat earther, and he's shown me a lot of things, and I'm like, finally, like, I know I got a lot to learn, but it's like, the proof is right there, and it's freaky how we're brainwashed into being a Globie, in all honesty.
Well, I wasn't expecting that. Acceptance stage, hey?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right on.
Good to hear, man. But yeah, if this has been recent, get used to being flustered for a while. A lot of new people that newly realize flat Earth, remember, Nathan, the sleepless nights, especially in 2050, a lot of people had that.
Yeah, I remember a lot of people having it. Not me personally, but yeah.
No?
Not at all, no.
I was going crazy over the moon.
Yeah, I was just like, straight away, I was like, whoa.
There was
I
a
trekked
dude I
the moon
interviewed
for like 8 months.
I can't remember the guy's name. I think it was Neil. Hey, Quantum Eraser.
Hey.
Hello. I interviewed this dude who was very depressed, just by coincidence, then came across Flat Earth. And like me, I related to him on this level. He said it was like a massive weight off his shoulders. You know, he was far less depressed, and he stopped taking his depression medication as a result of finding out the Earth was flat. It was like a load off. And I was the same. I was like, what a relief. There's always been something not quite right about what they've told me. I know chocolates express these sentiments as well, in terms of early memories from youth of conflictions with what they told you about how the sphere Earth worked, and you went, that don't make any sense. You just went about your day, but it stayed there until you found out it was all nonsense, and then you're like, oh, what a relief. That was always kind of a grating idea that never worked in my mind.
Exactly. Very, very on point right there. Yep.
Can I ask the former Glober a question?
Yeah, go ahead, if he's willing.
Yeah, are you still there?
He said he was doing stuff in the background.
He said he was...
Oh,
yes. Sorry, I'll mute myself. Forgive me.
No. I'm trying to ask you a question, if you will. What was
Oh yeah, what's up?
what was the best argument that finally put you over for a flat Earth?
It's a good one. Let me think.
There's just so
Sorry if
many.
yeah. I just can't think of, because it's been a long time since like me and that friend of mine, me and Tom have really got into like
But if I ask you a direct question, why are you a flat earther? What would you say immediately?
I'm a flat earther because I believe that we are put on this earth for a reason, not brainwashed by the government into being whatever the hell they want us to be. It's
Got to get rid of that belief part.
Fair enough. I'm just going to read out a super chat from Cleary. A paracosm is a detailed imaginary world. Thank you for telling me. I was hoping somebody would really appreciate it, especially as it's giving me money to do so. But yeah, thank you for the super chat, Cleary. A paracosm is a detailed imaginary world. The creator of a paracosm, I hope I'm saying it right, paracosm, has a complex and deeply felt relationship with the subjective universe. Okay, well, thank you very much for that.
Huh.
Like the world of Narnia.
Yeah,
Looks like he got his role changed.
Say again,
So
Travis.
That's a really neat word for
seeing that his role had been changed.
Oh, to
Sorry
flat
about
earther. I see. Thank you. I
Well,
like
Nidhug
new words.
hold on a second. Did Nidhug present on his case for the Black Swan yet?
He hasn't been in.
He's supposed to present his case on the Black Swan this morning.
You sure? Neil passed on the message, and I explained. Obviously, I've got no control over whether or not he comes, but
somebody said he was here, and I'm asking. He must not have presented, so I don't care whether he was here or not. Right? So he better get here before the after show's over. That's all I'm saying. Or he's server.
right. Shout out to Al Junkie. He says, shout out to HY Tryboy, an honest glober woken up. Wow. Yeah, thanks for the super chat, Al Junkie.
Hey, if I can say this real quick, it's pronounced Haichi Boy. I get a lot of like mistaken for that. If that's all right, bringing up. Forgive me for interrupting.
No, that's fine.
Hi, Tree Boy.
Good.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Did anyone play Stop the Presses yet?
No. Why? What are we stopping the presses?
No. Did you listen to it?
No.
Yes, I did. That was hilarious.
Oh my God.
Just a straight denial of water gas.
Straight denial
Both
of the
forms of
water
it.
cycle. They were making fun of you for saying that you got to play it.
Have you sent it me somewhere?
Go ahead and Ballbusters. It should be sitting right there.
So the
From
water cycle
Jose
doesn't
JG
exist?
Retard Show, 20 May 2020, starring Sean the Crackhead Hawkins, Latonia Daft Cow Bailey, and the usual numpty dipshit panel. If you thought you heard the stupidest comments and reactions from Baltard spinning space monkeys, I'm here to tell you, you haven't heard anything yet. I shit you not. May I present the bashingest in the face with a spade shovel, quarter stick of dynamite in the ass bonfire of numpty dipshittery of the millennium.
I learned today, I was watching the Flat Earth debate, and I realized why they say that gas is created at ground level. That's where we get our gradient air pressure. By gas being created at ground level. The reason they're saying that is because of the gas cycle, which Nathan Oakley said this morning. He explained it. The gas is produced at ground level. It goes up into the air, and it condenses into rain,
Oh,
and then
God.
falls back into. He thinks that water evaporating is gas. That's what gives us our gradient air pressure. What a
What a gas!
moron!
You can't make
this
shit up.
And that's what Chris thinks. That's what all the flat earthers think because he said that. Anybody who says it's because gas is created at ground level, that's what they're saying.
Oh, Jesus.
So you unimaginable, boneheaded retards of the ages deny gas being created from evaporation, rising, then condensing, then falling back to Earth as rain. Essentially the water cycle that everyone was taught in second grade. You laugh and mock that idea?
Shit, hold on.
There you go.
Okay then. Where was that?
Right,
Where was
yeah.
that? Where did that take place?
Somebody sent me the Dave part with that Latonia band with bumbling butthead, and it was right on the next part. I didn't hear it, right? I couldn't believe it. I had to play it again. I said, wait a second. Are these guys denying the gas cycle? Sean Hawkins. So you don't think when
gas cycle? No one's denying the gas cycle, or the water cycle, as it should be called.
Other than
There's
the
no
clip we just
gas
played.
Cycle. There's a water cycle.
He just said
There's no
nobody's
gas
that's
denying
what
it.
he was talking about, you dumb shit.
He just
No, he
said
was talking about
nobody's
the water
denying it.
cycle.
He's just defending them, white knighting for them. He just said
was
nobody's
talking about the water cycle.
He just said nobody's
And that's
denying
got
it.
nothing to do. That's got nothing
He
to do
just
with gas
said,
being produced at the
listen,
surface.
just because Sean Hawkins doesn't know what the water cycle is, he called it the gas cycle. He laughed at water turning into gas through evaporation. Didn't you hear him?
He wasn't. Yeah, but your claim is there's a load of excess
Yeah, but
gas
your
being
claim
produced at
is
ground level.
Get
He's
the
not
fuck outta here.
disputing that water is
Rumpus.
created and turns into vapor and does a cycle.
That's exactly what he's denying. That's why we are laughing at him.
He is
Rumpus. I mean,
refuting-
don't lower yourself to Sean Hawkins' level, man. You know the water cycle
I
exists.
mean, I
Come
don't
on.
know the exact details of what he was talking about.
Oh, that's all right. We just played it. Do you want me to play
Yeah,
it
we
again?
just played
I can
it.
do that. That's no problem, Rumpus. You just shut your mouth for a little bit and you can hear it.
From the Jose J.G. Retard Show, 20 May 2020, starring Sean the Crackhead Hawkins, Latonia Daft Cow Bailey, and the usual numpty dipshit panel. If you thought you heard the stupidest comments and reactions from Baltard spinning space monkeys, I'm here to tell you, you haven't heard anything yet. I shit you not. May I present the bashingest in the face with a spade shovel, quarter stick of dynamite in the ass bonfire of numpty dipshittery of the millennium.
I learned today, I was watching the Flat Earth debate, and I realized why they say that gas is created at ground level. That's where we get our gradient air pressure. By gas being created at ground level. The reason they're saying that is because of the gas cycle, which Nathan Oakley said this morning. He explained it. The gas is produced at ground level. It goes up into the air, and it condenses into rain.
Oh, God.
And then falls back into. He thinks that water evaporating is gas. That's what gives us our gradient air pressure.
What a gas.
Moron.
What a gas.
And that's what Chris thinks. That's what all the flat earthers think, because he said that. Anybody who says it's because gas is created at ground level, that's what they're saying.
There you go. With that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who tuned in live, smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. If you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Nathan may have us muted or something, maybe.
Nathan, do you believe there's lots of gas being produced at ground level, whether it's in the form of water vapor or other sorts of gas?
It's a fact. It's not a belief.
Where does the gas come from, Marcus? Other than the ground, where does the gas come from?
Hold on, Chocolate. I've answered your question. Now, if you will, can you answer me a question? Do you believe that gas is produced in the middle of the sky?
There'll be some reactions, there'll be some small amount, perhaps somewhere, but the net effect will be zero.
A no. So that's a no.
Well, there's a net.
The net effect between your ears is zero. He asked you about gas production.
Yeah, there's some production, there's some reduction.
Oh, really? There's some production in the middle of the sky. What gas is being produced?
There are chemical reactions that go on in the sky.
Oh, you not. Wait, let's get back to this Sean Hawkins crackhead. He laughed when he said that Nathan thinks that when water evaporates, it turns into a gas. He's a moron.
Does, yeah. That's exactly what it does.
Yeah? Yeah, you believe that too?
What's the three states of water?
Who's got a child?
Three states. What, did I just ask a question?
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to answer it, but I got interrupted by a screaming child. When water has three phases, solid, liquid, and gas.
Does water, when it evaporates, turn into a gas?
Let me finish.
Does water, when it evaporates,
Eat it, Rumpus. Yeah, eat that mic, you bitch. Eat it. We love it, Rumpus, you little bitch. Eat it.
Let me finish. The gas.
Eat your mic, bitch. Eat your mic. Eat your mic for us. Get angry for us, Rumpus, you little bitch. Go on, get angry for us. Go on, do it. Eat your mic. Eat it. Eat it.
Never happened to you, isn't it? When you're talking to me. So when water enters the gas phase, we call it water vapor.
It's a gas.
It's a gas.
Yeah, you just said that.
It's a gas. Thank you.
Is a vapor a gas? Yeah.
Wow, Rumpus. Sean Hawkins, do you want to come tell us how gas is not a gas? Clown.
Hey, Rumpus, you had a rare opportunity to deflect. I'm sorry. He had a clear opportunity to deflect the ridicule away from himself, and yet he still chooses to hold up that sword.
It's not only him, it's every numpty dipshit on that panel that was laughing and mocking Nathan. Not just Sean Hawkins. All of them.
Yeah, they're all snickering in the back. I heard that.
So does Nathan believe that the gas produced as a result of water turning into water vapor is the cause of the pressure gradient? Is that what Nathan believes?
That's not what we were talking about. Yeah, it contributes to it, you numpty dipshit.
No,
that's not what we're talking about, though.
Right, so here we go.
We need to play it again.
Let me finish. The gas pressure difference
Let
between
you
ground
finish.
level,
You're a
say, Mount
friggin'
Everest,
moron who needs to be
is
institutionalized.
so great.
Why should we let you finish?
I know you don't like me. I know you don't like me answering.
Oh, I don't like you. No, you should be institutionalized.
The gas pressure difference. The gas
Rumpus.
pressure
Let me try. Let me try
the
real
gas
civilly
pressure
with you.
difference.
Let
The
him
gas
finish.
Rumpus.
pressure
Hang himself.
difference.
Let him
The
finish.
gas pressure difference between ground level and say Mount Everest is.
Get the fuck out of my hangout. Do you think you can say the gas pressure difference 15 times while someone else is trying to say something so we can't hear what they're saying? You think you're going to get to have your say by saying gas pressure difference 15 times? That's not how this works. Now, I'm going to take you off mute. You're going to get one attempt to shut the fuck up when other people talk, or you don't take part for the rest of the day. Good. Fuck off. Put yourself on server mute. Piss off to a different room.
John Crackhead Hawkins, come in and tell us how you friggin' deny the water cycle. And all the boneheads with you. That Latonia idiot. I'll tell you what, bring all of your numpties over here. We need a good laugh.
All right, Nathan and Kiwi, can we talk about that same thing, but in terms of an airliner? How about that?
Jazz.
Oh, God.
Jazz Akonda.
Hello.
Does water, when it evaporates, turn into a gas? Jazz?
Let's talk about what Rumpus was talking about, because you can't talk about it on the Earth. So let's talk about in terms of an airliner cabin.
Yeah.
Answer the question.
Yeah, this whole started with one question. When water evaporates, does it turn into a gas?
That's not rocket science.
What is the answer? What is the answer? I didn't ask you about rockets. What is the answer?
If a liquid evaporates, what does it turn into? It's not rocket science.
Yes. So that's your answer?
So answer it. Is it a gas or is it not rocket science? Which one is the answer?
That's a joke. They don't have to answer anything. These people.
Hang on, Neil. He doesn't want to say gas. Hang on. He doesn't want to say
Hang on. Just really quick. I want to ask Quantum Eraser, just we're off the subject because he's such an expert on this. When an airliner goes to 40,000 feet, its cabin pressure is 8,000 feet. What does that mean is happening as it ascends in altitude?
Get rid of him. This guy.
Go ahead and snort that next beer.
Oh, God.
A straightforward question by Chocolate gets an answer that is so avoiding the, and then he says it's not rocket science, but he won't say what it is. but because his buddies might make fun of him because he sounds like Nathan all of a sudden. Howard.
Does the air pressure drop with altitude?
Answer Tuckman's question.
Answer the question. Then you can move on to your little airplane.
Jazz, I'll ask you again. When water evaporates, what does it turn into?
It turns into a gas because it's not fucking a liquid or a solid, is it?
Can you let Sean Hawkins know he's a complete retard?
There you go.
Quantum Eraser, you fuckwit. Answer the question.
No, we're done with you. Thanks, Jazz.
What? Thanks, man. That's all we needed. Appreciate it.
All done. Bye-bye. Go get on your plane.
Holy shit. You are the most smartest.
Sean Hawkins, if you're listening out there, that's two ballers that have come in here and disagree with your point. So, again, what were you guys laughing at? Are you going to have a good talk, sit down with Rumpus and Jazz and explain to them how it's so funny how water, when it evaporates, turns into a gas? Are you going to do that?
He was in the chat, right?
Stay off the crack, bro.
While Rumpus
yeah. I'm still here, and you don't know what you're fucking talking about.
Yeah, thanks for that. Very helpful. So he was in the chat, Sean Hawkins, while Rumpus was telling us and trying desperately to talk about gas pressure differentials, shouting the same words 3 or 4 times to everybody, obviously confirming over and over again that we're definitely talking about gas. He was in the chat, Sean Hawkins, so I told him, Rumpus is just confirming that we are definitely talking about gas.
What else? Especially quantum eraser.
I move everything off there. Give it
Holy fuck, you're a dumb cunt.
I can't believe Rumpus goes after a long-winded answer. Basically, none is produced up there.
Reiterate the question because everyone here doesn't get it.
The net effect is 0. Yeah, we're not talking about what happens between your ears. We're talking about does water evaporation lead to gas? Unbelievable, man. This is the friggin' it's the stop the presses of the ages, dude. I couldn't believe it when I heard it.
I've got an example where Balder will not answer a direct question on screen. I actually asked Zanuck specifically in this, how does a measurement of duration cause something to happen? And he just kept saying, he kept spouting what was the whole conversation yesterday, that time is an independent variable. But that's not the question I asked. They won't answer any direct question.
Oh, the time is an independent variable went on for like 6 hours after the show yesterday. Just to let you know.
Oh, I know. I caught some of it. I didn't catch all of it. I caught it. But look at my question. How does a measurement of duration cause something? And he didn't want to answer that. He just kept. That's my point. That's a very direct question, a very specific question. But of course, if he answered it, his whole argument would fall apart.
Yeah, well, we already established that he has the intellectual integrity of Milli Vanilli over a year ago. Remember I used to sing the song? You want me to sing it again? Blame
Go
it
ahead.
on
No.
the rain.
No.
Yeah. Let's get back to Sean Hawkins and his merry band, the miscreant knucklehead retards over there on Jose JG Retards channel. So they're laughing at the water cycle that when water evaporates, it turns into a gas, and they all start laughing and mocking and calling him a moron. The whole panel. Let's get back to that.
Well, didn't it just get debunked by 2 of their own?
We need more.
We need more. Man, I told you Fridays are tremendous days on the FED show.
That's the problem with Dunning-Kruger retards. They think that in their mind, when they were having that conversation, they thought they were doing really well and pointing out just how dumb we are, even though they're on a public live show, just demonstrating how unbelievably retarded they all are. But they think they're doing well.
Correct.
It is.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Sad but true.
Well,
it's a crack up.
That's what happens when you're in denial and you have to fight for a model that's reified. You say stupid things.
It's not even that advanced. It's just pure Dunning-Kruger stupidity. So when Sean's in the chat saying the Black Swan's a straw man, in his mind, he's got a win. And if we only paid attention to his comment that it's a straw man, we'd all know that this image on screen had been debunked. Because they think they're doing well. It's just pure stupidity.
Stupidity.
Let's really
crack his whack.
That's not stupidity, man.
It's more like psychosis. They're like just completely breaking their fundamental understanding of what's even going on. They just go onto confused paths of interpretation and then think that they've won.
Also known as retardation.
I think the most retarded part really is the doubling down. Like, you can feel very confident, present yourself very confident, but if the world doesn't really reflect that to you, besides echo chambers, then you should be paying attention to that, but they just keep on ignoring it, and that's really where the real stupidity comes in. And they don't even listen to the signals of the world.
They don't even have any self-respect, though.
Who's the new
They
knucklehead?
back each other up no
Latonia
matter what.
or Latanya or whatever the hell you call yourself. You friggin' daft cow. Triangulation isn't an experiment. Then she started making fun of Riley and a bunch of other people. Get your ass over here, you daft cow. Don't you have other people going to do or prove your claims? You triangulate the moon for us. You show us. It's your claim. Friggin' bonehead.
Oh, that reminds me.
Wish you've never joined this friggin' these hangouts again. Tell you that much right now.
Where's our angle to Polaris evidence? I want to see the dude 90 degrees to Polaris.
Oh, that was Rumpus. That was the
we're
Rumpus
still waiting
chart.
on Rumpus for that. Yep.
Yeah, a failed burden of proof reversal fallacy, where apparently it's really easy for me to go out and do something just like this chick's done. But I pointed out that this was Rumpus's claim and that I will therefore, if it's dead easy, going to charge him with absolutely doing it. I assume she's used the same little magic trick and said, it's dead easy for you to go out and prove this yourself. So, love,
Are you
better get out there and do it then, haven't you?
99%?
It's your claim. Because we're going to, as soon as I figure out who you are or what your name is, because I have no idea. But when I do, I'm going to put that on you. Like Quantum Eraser's just done, I'm going to take all the credit too.
Is that the project where the Rumpus got 99% done with and then got sick over and over again?
No, that was an older project that we're still waiting on. I don't even remember what that one was, but he's still feeling under the weather, so we're still waiting for that one. But this is a whole new one where he's got to prove somebody standing, completely 90 with the pole star 90 degrees above their head. And he said it was real
But
easy
he'll
peasy.
offer to try
But
it.
apparently we don't got that. So I don't know. I don't know how easy it is.
You can place that on Sean the Crackhead Hawkins too. He's one that runs around with that nonsense also. Ironically.
Nah, he's got enough on his plate. He's still trying to figure out what water is when it evaporates.
Imagine if you went the other way round and went the opposite direction in phase change and went, those idiots over on Flat Earth Debate, they think that when water goes below 0 degrees centigrade, it turns into a solid. What a bunch of idiots.
That's what it's tantamount to. You're right.
Wow. When you put it like that.
Yeah, that's a direct comparison.
It's in the word. Evaporation. Evaporation. Vapor.
Vapor's fluid.
No, it's a very light. It's a very light solid.
It's a very light solid. Yeah, right.
It has
Well, there are all kinds of processes possible with water. There's even circumstances where water vapor in gas situation can directly crystallize into ice.
Yeah, it's called snow.
No, no. I think that's like tiny water droplets first. But I mean, like the water in the air will simply touch some kind of super cold surface and then instantly freeze.
I think you'll find
into
one
a solid state.
it's when one of the many gods sneezes. That's what you get.
That's called hail.
How can they show their face after making that sort of stuff?
Say that again, you broke up.
Oh, again.
How can they possibly show their face after making that stupid?
They'll be on there today. I'm telling you.
I said
they don't. It doesn't
They have
even
no
phase them.
self-respect.
What's that you got there, Paul?
It's funny.
Water turning into a solid, I see.
It's called deposition. What I was talking about. From gas to solid. That was the word.
Got a solid that's light in air, have we?
It's called freezing.
Yeah, but freezing simply is pointing at the state it's going to be at. It's not the transformation process.
Yeah, it is. Freezing is the phase change from liquid to solid. It's
Yeah, but
freezing.
there's gas directly into solid, bypassing the liquid state.
It's still freezing.
Yes. I don't know. I was just
when you put
talking
an
about
ice cube,
transport.
Arvin, I know you're being very detailed here, and you're trying to get intricate. But when you put an ice tray full of liquid in your freezer, after a while it turns into a solid, and the phase changes are happening throughout the process.
Hold on, Discord. We're dealing with very crucial scientific data here. Sorry, can you repeat that, please, 10th man?
Thanks to Sean Hawkins.
Yeah,
Yes.
these guys. So anyway, it's
there are literally 7-year-olds blushing, aren't there?
that's what I was just about. That's exactly.
I taught both my kids about this. I've literally the 1-year-old she can't even speak yet, and while she sat on the countertop and the kettle's boiling, I'm babbling on about phase changes to her. I did the same with Eleanor. Now, if I asked Eleanor about a phase change, she's 3. She understands it.
When I was a kid, I used to make punches and like Kool-Aid drinks and pour them into the ice cube containers so that when as a solid, it'd be my own little lollipop or whatever. Now imagine if I had left that out in the hot sun. What would have happened to that tray of Kool-Aid?
Bit of exploded. I don't know. You have to tell me. I'm on tenterhooks.
Well, you're on tender. Okay, so basically, if I don't put it in the freezer, it won't turn into a solid. If I leave it out in the hot sun, it's going to evaporate. And these people are laughing, and they don't get this.
It's evaporating into a solid.
This is
You keep breaking up. Are you on the push
He
to
said
talk
it
or what?
evaporated into a solid.
This is a silly conversation, and it's because we're dealing with silly people.
Sublimation is the opposite process of deposition. Deposition is from a gas into a solid, but sublimation happens to more than, usually water is the only real thing that can do deposition apparently, or mostly. But sublimation also happens to certain type of crystals. Iodine, for example, just turns into gas if exposed.
Dry ice does that.
Dry ice is the best example of that.
That also, right?
A new word. I love it. Sublimation. So the process that would have a block of dry ice turn into a gas, i.e., bypassing the liquid phase, is sublimation. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, and even ice will do it in a fridge. If you ever stick your ice cubes in the refrigerator and they come back, you forget about them and come back and they're gone.
But this implies that I'm wrong then, Arwin. So what's the other way around then? When I said it's just freezing, I was obviously incorrect. There's got to be a different word like sublimation for the reverse process from gas straight into solid.
Yes, that's called deposition.
Oh, okay. You've got it on screen. I'll put it up.
Yeah, everyone in a cold climate knows it happens on their windshield.
What, you breathe out and it turns into a solid?
No, it's on your windshield.
What is?
When gas turns into a solid, it's on your windshield, man.
Yeah, that's what I just said. When you breathe out and then it turns into a solid.
You breathe out. Does it have windshield in there?
In the car. We're talking about. Do I need to specify? We're talking about.
No. On the outside of the windshield, man.
Okay.
Yeah, you got the severe wind chill.
Why deposition happens on the windshield or on your window is because the window is cold enough probably, for that to happen. If you had warmed up the window, then deposition doesn't happen.
No, technically the water that's in the air, that's not a gas. That's actually a liquid, so this doesn't apply.
Exactly, that's correct, man. It's liquid. Yeah, you got it. Yeah. Not the deposition one, but the one you were talking about. Yep.
Why are we dealing with idiots?
I don't know, man. I don't know, dude.
And why did Rumpus White Knight for them? Nobody's saying that it doesn't turn into gas. That is precisely what they are saying. Why would you White Knight that?
Well, because Sean the Crackhead Hawkins called it the gas cycle, right? It's not the gas cycle. What is a gas cycle? Can somebody tell me what is a gas? What is the? I think it was the definite article, gas cycle.
It's a 750 Honda motorcycle that takes gas.
Hold on. I don't understand your question. When you say the gas cycle, it's not like that, is it? It's not like the scientific method. There are loads of different gas cycles.
Exactly. He was specifically talking, he screwed up. He meant to say the water cycle.
I see. So a slip of the tongue meant that it accidentally invalidated his entire argument that they were having a good laugh about by accidentally calling the water cycle the gas cycle.
Yeah. Yeah, that gets him out of the argument, according to Rumpus. Of course, I wasn't concerned about that. I was concerned more when he said, when they were laughing and mocking, that when gas evaporates, it doesn't turn into a gas. When water evaporates, it doesn't turn into a gas, then condense, then fall as rain. They were laughing at that.
Yeah, you pointed out already.
That's
evaporate.
Literally 4th grade science. Literally.
I don't know.
Jeez, man.
Yeah, it's evaporating, and it's like saying the equivalent would be to say, when something vaporizes, it's not turning into vapor.
Yeah, exactly. You got it. Yep.
How dare you think that thing that's being liquefied is turning into liquid? How dare you?
Unbelievable, man. I thought I heard everything. I don't know. This might surpass a couple of them. I'm going to have to think about it. This is right up there, dude. Top 3. Easy. Right off the bat.
How dare you assert that gas requires to press on something to have pressure? Not like the word press is in pressure. What are you talking about?
That's just a coincidence.
Yeah, it's just semantics.
But they need it in their supposed ISS, right? They need containment for their air to breathe.
In the studio? I'm pretty sure it's all air conditioned, isn't it?
Underwater, in the pool.
Oh, for the outside ones?
Yeah,
we don't talk about this much. I know it's because it's not really that relevant because we can debunk it with the gas pressure without a container argument, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say we're all fairly well educated in terms of the fakery of NASA, am I right?
Yeah, I would agree.
We all know how they're doing it with the tanks of water and the high wire, all that stuff.
Can I ask a question? Can you have liquid water without pressure?
No.
So we live in our pressurized system so we can have water. So how do we have pressure again?
We must be contained to have the water. I mean, that would be a delta of the gas pressure. But yeah, without gas pressure, the water would just undergo the phase change immediately. There's nothing stopping at a minute level the surface of the water having that phase change occur. If there was no pressure on it, it would just occur. The whole lot would just vaporize. And by that I mean everything. The oceans, the whole lot. The whole lot would dissipate into space. The gas, the water, the lot, everything. Instantaneously if the sky was a vacuum.
Oh, really? Are you sure?
Yeah, really.
Oh, God.
You're wrong.
Is this a baller who likes horse meat in their lasagna? Can't wait to hear it.
I don't know. There's nothing wrong with horse meat. Cat also very nice.
Can we not with the?
Can we not?
Okay, we're gonna destroy my favorite food, lasagna. No. Let's not do that.
Hey, don't knock it till you've tried it.
No, Chocolate. Don't miss the angle, because for a baller, the horse meat and lasagna, instead of the initial shock of, hey, I thought it was cow, but now I find out it's horse. Instead of that, they'd be saying, oh yeah, this is how they saddle you with cost reduction. It's only $1.
my favourite bit of that little scandal.
It's only $1.
They went and interviewed one of the farmers, right, that was producing the horses for the meat. Obviously, it's much cheaper. And they went and interviewed him and said, "What about the horse meat going into these lasagnas?" And the farmer was like, "Yeah, it's very good horse. I produce excellent horse. What's your problem?" And I was like, "Yeah, exactly. The guy's a horse meat farmer. So what's his attitude going to be that his product's gone into food?" He's like, "Yeah, I produce good horse here."
Of course.
Wow. Yeah, we deviated a bit from the subject.
Hearty horse.
Good day, Dan. How are you,
buddy?
What lasagna debate?
So, I had a question.
No, the
What
oceans
does water turn into
and
when it evaporates?
Hey. I'm talking, right?
That's what the horse
Okay, hold on. Let me just get some control, mate. Hold on. Hold on. That means hold on. That doesn't mean continue talking indefinitely. So, just so there's not constant over-talking, there's just one question that Chocolate wants to ask. It's a one-word answer, and then you can ask whatever you like. Just humour him, please. Go ahead, Chocolate.
When water evaporates, what does it turn into?
You've been answered twice already. Why you need to ask it 3 times?
I'll humour him. Just say one word and we can move on. That's all you've got to do. It's easy.
No, I won't say it because I know you will not answer my question.
Yeah, we will. I promise. Chocolate, you're going to be put on the spot to answer his question. I promise you'll get an answer to whatever you ask, and you won't get interrupted. I promise. Cross my heart. Just need that one little word. I won't even tell you to go and tell Sean Hawkins afterwards.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Ask your question. Go ahead.
I ask, are you sure the oceans are going to instantly evaporate? And I urge you to ask Arwen before you answer.
What?
He's challenging
Why
my
the
claim.
oceans aren't instantly evaporating?
Arwen, I've claimed that the oceans would instantly vaporised if the sky was a vacuum. He's saying no, and I'm going to cite Arwen, he'll know why, as a challenge to that. Are you sure they'll instantaneously vaporise?
Well, the pressure would have to be kept up somehow in order for the water to be able to be in a liquid state in the first place, because it has been tested that if you lower the pressure, like in a vacuum chamber, water will eventually just start evaporating despite any temperature change. So water, the oceans aren't evaporating. So I'm pretty sure that's because the Earth realm is contained in a limited pressure.
Instantly
is the bit
when
the bit is focusing on is the word instantly.
Well, the air would probably go, like if it was stable supposedly in the first place, then the air would go very quickly, just maybe half a minute total, and then the oceans would probably follow suit soon after, another 10 minutes, maybe. I don't know. Am I correct at this? Roughly?
He's getting hung up. He's trying to get hung up with the word instantly. I don't know about instantly, but it would be pretty friggin' fast at 10 to the negative 17 Tor.
Yeah, okay, I'll concede.
Hold on,
when I say instantly, that implies
regardless of temperature.
Yeah,
yes.
I'll concede. You're right. When I say instantaneously, that's probably an oversimplification. Now, the scenario for this to occur in the first place would imply that first we have containment around all of the atmosphere, and then it's suddenly removed, and then how quickly from it being contained, then not being contained, will the oceans dissipate? Well, I don't know, it might take 10 minutes. You know what I mean? But so what?
Might be a million years.
No, it wouldn't be.
Oh, no.
I mean, 10 minutes is a
It'll
stretch.
start boiling, and then it'll start boiling faster and faster.
There
and
goes
I'm
the
going to put an upper
presupposition.
limit.
There it goes.
given that the sky vacuums claim to be 10 to the minus 17 torr, when I said 10 minutes, that was stretching it to all absurdity. In fairness, I mean we're talking a few seconds. The whole lot will be gone. That's what I mean by instantaneously. If you want to say, oh no, it'll still hang around, you'd still have oceans 10 minutes later. Okay, I mean, fine. I can't prove that it won't be, but I'm going to say within a few seconds, or very, very rapidly, everything's going to dissipate into space, including the oceans.
Can I ask him a question?
Owen,
Gas to begin with?
what are the two factors that affect boiling?
Can you say again? Didn't pick that up.
What are the two factors that affect the water boiling or any other?
Pressure and temperature.
Pressure
and
and
altitude.
Temperature, thank you, Owen.
Pressure and
no.
temperature, both.
And altitude. Based on pressure.
It's pressure. It's pressure and temperature. So if there's not enough temperature, then it won't be boiling.
Yeah, but your boiling point decreases as you've got less and less pressure. If you've got no pressure, it just boils off.
Right. Yeah. Even if
you
the
have
water
no temperature, it doesn't boil.
No.
Look,
if you've got no pressure.
Sorry.
Just
Can I reply, please? Because even if it was a block of ice, right? Well, it could sublimate. If there was just no pressure surrounding it, even the ice supposedly being solid, it's going to sublimate. It's going to turn directly into gas and just vent off anyway.
We see the rings of Saturn. They don't seem to evaporate.
Yeah, but how about ice in a vacuum?
I was waiting for it.
Hold on.
How about ice in a vacuum?
Sorry, do you think the rings of Saturn are a gas? They're not.
No, they're.
How do you have gas pressure to begin with? How do you get the gas pressure to start with?
Hold on. His reply is no, they're ice. Okay, so if they're ice, the same principle would apply if they're in a vacuum.
Yeah, and they don't seem to be in a rush.
No, they don't seem to because you're assuming they're ice. It's called a begging the question fallacy. They're not evaporating, therefore they're not violating the second law of thermodynamics. Well, what makes you think they should be evaporating? Well, because they're made of ice, and they're not evaporating? That's begging the question. Circular reasoning, mate.
No, the claim they will evaporate was...
They would evaporate because you're assuming they're made of ice?
They are.
So you're not assuming they're made of ice? Because if you don't insert that assumption, we don't need to worry about what they're doing in terms of their evaporation or not evaporation. It's only when you assume they're made of ice that we need to worry about that, isn't it now? But if you're going to assume they're made of ice and they tell us they're not evaporating, that's circular reasoning. Second time I've said it.
Oh, God. You want to see a test when they put water in vacuum chamber and they don't evaporate instantly and they stop boiling?
So they do evaporate then, so nothing to do with temperature. So they didn't heat it up, they just reduced the pressure and it boiled.
Of course it has to do with temperature.
No, because they just reduced the... Did they stick a stove under it in this vacuum chamber, or did they just reduce pressure and watch it boil?
Just to reduce pressure.
Oh, so not temperature then. So pressure could cause it to boil then. So when you're saying straw man argument that we need to insert a fire underneath the gas or under the water for it to evacuate... No, mate, no. The reduction of pressure to 10 to the minus 17 torr at sea level would cause all of the oceans to evacuate instantaneously.
Can I
He has
describe
another
what
problem. You got another problem. In your little vacuum chamber, we're going to need it down to 10 to the negative 17 torr. We want to be hyper specific here. Now, you're saying that you would have evaporative cooling? Yeah, you would. You would. We'd have to really test this on the oceans. See what it would. Just let me tell you this. It wouldn't be pretty.
Sorry, what's hold on. What's evaporative cooling? Is this like the what they use to get your fridge cold.
Say again?
What's evaporative cooling?
Well, when the gas starts to evaporate, that's what it is, evaporative cooling. That liquid is going to start to cool, right? So I don't know what, because there's so much water on Earth. Right? I don't know. All I'm saying is that it's not going to be pretty.
Right.
Well, hold on. It would be fun to see, though.
Albin's already covered this.
Only happens from liquid to gas, though.
Hold on. This hypothetical's been covered by Arwin, because in the first instance, you've got to be able to form all of these liquids and gases in the first place. And in order to form them, you've got to have containment. Therefore, for this scenario to play out, we've got to first envisage that we have the necessary antecedent of containment, and also envisage that we have a sky vacuum beyond the containment. Then we remove it, and hypothetically what would happen? It's kind of the same as when you get a Vsauce video about what would happen if the Earth stopped spinning. Well, first you've got to presuppose it's spinning, then you've got to, it's kind of, yeah.
Yeah, it's absurd. You have to have so many. Yeah, I'm following you, man. We're going down a trail that we shouldn't go down because it's nonsense.
Yeah, but look at what the competition is doing, you know. So we have to take over their task because they're faltering so bad.
I love it. With that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who tuned in on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Of course, a massive thank you to today's Discord and G Plus panels for making today's after show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!